Hello, welcome back for session 9 of my series, Nurturing the Body, Mindfulness and Meditation for Physical Healing. Thank you for joining me. Today's topic is self-compassion, or to say it in straightforward terms, it's about being your own best friend. Just for a moment, think of a recent time when someone close to you, maybe a good friend or relative, came to you and shared that they were really struggling, having a really hard time. How would you respond? What would you say to them? What would be your tone of voice? Your body language? Now imagine yourself going through the same tough situation. How would you treat yourself? What would you typically say to yourself and in what tone? Would you agree that you are most likely kinder to others than to yourself? That your words and body language would likely be kinder and warmer to others, showing that you care? If so, you're not alone. Studies on this topic show that most people are more compassionate with others, and only a small percentage, about 6%, are more compassionate with themselves. Some time ago, one of my yoga teachers asked the class, if you were to talk to others the way you talk to yourself, would you have any friends left? Of course, we all laughed because we recognize the truth behind that question. Many of us can be pretty harsh in the way we talk to ourselves when we make a mistake or aren't living up to our own expectations. During my more than 30 years experience of working closely with people in pain, I have witnessed a lot of this from my patients. Just last week, a young man apologized for crying when he shared with me his struggles with metastatic cancer. An elderly lady said she was such a klutz when she wasn't able to do her exercises correct the first time I showed them to her. And another said about herself, "Look at these fat legs. You would think I would do something about that." It honestly breaks my heart to hear my patients judge themselves like this, or apologize for completely appropriate emotions in the midst of suffering. Self-compassion, practically speaking, means treating yourself with the same kindness when you experience difficulties as you would treat another. Kristen Neff, psychologist at the University of Texas at Austin and leading expert in the field of self-compassion, describes 3 components to self-compassion. The first one is self-kindness, the opposite of self-judgment. The second one is what she calls common humanity, which refers to realizing that we're not alone and that there are many people suffering in the same way we are, whether we are chronically stressed or in the midst of losing our job, challenged in a relationship, or dealing with illness. It also refers to the fact that life is messy. Things go wrong, and it happens to the best of us. And the third component of self-compassion is an attitude of mindfulness, to be able to objectively witness our own challenges and to not run away from it, but also not over-identify with it. It's sort of like looking at ourselves and our situation as a witness, almost a bit detached. A regular meditation practice can be extremely helpful with training this skill. I attribute my meditation practice for maintaining sanity and being able to make good decisions and not completely losing it when I was dealing with both cancer and divorce. Now, many people feel that self-compassion makes us wimpy and makes us lose motivation to do better. But the opposite is actually true. You see, when we speak harshly to ourselves, we feel threatened. We activate the stress response. And when we speak in a more understanding tone, we feel safe, and chances are we feel more encouraged to try again. Much research has been done to determine the benefits of self-compassion. Findings include reduction in negative states of mind, like anxiety, depression, stress, shame, perfectionism, body dissatisfaction, and eating disorders. Research also shows increased positive states of mind, more grateful, happier, satisfied, more optimistic, and a greater appreciation of the bodies. The good news is that self-compassion is trainable. In a moment, I'm going to guide you through a self-compassion practice. We will do this as a meditation, but the techniques I will teach you can also be used, and probably ideally be used, as on-the-spot practices for moments that are challenging for you and when you feel bad about yourself. So I invite you to get in a comfortable and ideally seated position, but any other position would work as well. Get yourself comfortable, cover yourself up if needed, and once you're comfortable, allow yourself to close your eyes. And let's start with 3 long breaths, ideally through your nose, in and out. Breathing in, belly and chest expanding. And breathing out, belly and chest drawing in. 3 long breaths like that. At the end of the 3rd out breath, allow your breath to resume its natural pace. Effortless breath, ideally in and out through the nose. Become aware of sounds around you, in the room you're in, outside the room you're in, perhaps even sounds coming from your own body, and accept all sounds that come to your ears. And let's do a brief body scan, starting at the top of the head, noticing sensations on the top of the head, back of the head, sensations of the face. If you notice any unnecessary tension during the body scan, see if you can easily and effortlessly release that tension. And if you can't, then let's simply accept that there's some tension. Noticing the neck, front of the neck, sides of the neck, and back of the neck. Shoulders relaxing away from the ears. Feeling the sensations of breath as the air passes through the throat. And becoming aware of the front of the torso, the chest. Likely you can feel a gentle rising and falling of the chest with your breath. Noticing any other sensations present, perhaps your heartbeat. And feeling the abdomen soft, warm, and feeling the gentle rising and falling of the abdomen with the breath. And feeling the upper back. Notice where the back is touching your chair or your bed. And again, you might feel the gentle expansion and contraction of the back as a result of your breathing. And then noticing the lower back. Notice where there is connection with the surface behind you and where there is some space. And again, feeling rising and falling, expanding and contracting of the lower back as a result of your breathing. And then noticing shoulders to fingertips, feeling the arms resting on your lap or next to you on your bed. Feeling the different sensations present in your arms, in your hands, in your fingers. And then feeling the hips all the way down to the tips of the toes. Notice where your legs are supported by your chair or bed and where they are not experiencing support. Feeling the sensations in the legs. And if you encounter any tension, see if you can effortlessly, easily let it go. Feeling the feet, the bottoms of the feet, resting on the floor if you're seated, or feeling your heels on the bed if you're lying down. Whole body soft and relaxed. Breath is effortless. You're comfortable. I'm inviting you now to bring to mind a situation that is happening in your life right now that is causing you some emotional struggle. Perhaps something at work, perhaps your health, or something related to relationships. Choose something that's a challenge, but not super hard or overwhelming. A few situations might come to mind, and just take a moment to choose one situation. And when you've decided on the situation, really get in touch with it. Where were you? Who was there with you? What was said? And then feel as if you are right there, back in that situation. And notice how you feel. Now I'm going to introduce 3 phrases that I encourage you to repeat mentally. The phrases are related to the 3 components of self-compassion that I mentioned earlier. So imagine yourself in this stressful situation, and mentally you say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering. Or another option could be, this is really hard. Or I'm struggling right now. So basically we mindfully validate that we're feeling challenged. So perhaps you say, this is a moment of suffering. Or this is really hard. Or I'm struggling right now. Or any other sentence that comes to mind for you that validates that you are being challenged. The second sentence is, suffering is part of life. Or if you don't like the word suffering, you can say to yourself, challenges are part of life. We basically remind ourselves that when we're human, we are being challenged at times. It's normal to have things like this happening. I'm not alone. There are many people who feel like this. So, making a statement to yourself to acknowledge that this is part of life, and it could be suffering is part of life, or I'm not alone. There are many people who feel like this. And the third and last sentence is, may I be kind to myself. As a gesture of self-compassion, we want to express kindness to ourselves. You might even call yourself by your name, or call yourself dear or darling. Maybe talk to yourself like you would a close friend going through a similar issue. What would you say, and in what tone of voice? Can you say that to yourself? So simply mentally imagine yourself in that situation, supporting yourself, being your own best friend, being kind to yourself. And if it feels good, you might even place your hands over the center of your chest, over your heart, one on top of the other, as a gesture of self-kindness. I sometimes compare it to giving a hug to ourselves. And notice how you feel. Notice what arises as you share this kindness with yourself. As you acknowledge that you're being challenged, as you remind yourself that you're not alone, and that suffering and challenges are part of being human. Give yourself another minute or so, just being kind and understanding towards yourself in this situation, and noticing how that feels. If your hands were on your heart, feel free to lower them down. Feel free to release the situation of your mind and simply sit or lie down and notice how this practice affected you. How do you feel right now? How does it feel to receive your own kindness, your own support? Become aware of your breath moving in and out of your body effortlessly. Bring some movement in your fingers and your toes. And then rub your hands together vigorously until they're nice and warm. And let's one more time place the hands over the center of the chest, one on top of the other. just as a sign of respect and kindness to ourselves. And when that feels complete, I invite you to open your eyes, do a little stretching, perhaps a little yawning. Maybe write a bit in your journal about this experience. And take just a little more time before you get up and go about your day. Thank you so much for meditating with me.